What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Empty the Benches, episode 303. Nick and Mac back with you for another one to close out the second round to get you ready for the conference finals, which got underway last night. Mac, how are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing good. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see I've got my Orioles baseball hockey jersey on. I've got my Orioles koozie here, and that's sort of because I don't know. I'm thinking it's baseball season based on the 4 teams that we've got left. I'm
Okay.
not gonna lie. I'm kind of not that excited about the 4 teams we've had advance to the conference final here. They're just not that exciting to me personally as far as how much I enjoy all of them. So been watching a little bit more baseball, but you know me, I'm certainly gonna still be tuned in and plan to watch all the games.
Yeah, absolutely. For those of you watching on YouTube, you'll notice that neither of us have hockey apparel on today. Mac went the baseball route. I, of course, have, been celebrating for the last 24 hours straight. So a little bit tired today, but Arsenal did win the Prem. So, I absolutely was not going to miss the opportunity to rep that. But I do want to go back to what you just said. I'm in agreement with you about the 4 teams that are left. It's for you and I, it's kind of down to one team needs to win the Stanley Cup. It's 3 against 1 here, and I'm not really loving those odds to start things off.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly, I almost don't even know who I'd prefer. I mean, if you're talking strictly from a Capitals fan standpoint, most Caps fans are probably going to be rooting for the Avalanche. But the problem with that for me is it's just not fresh. It's not exciting, and I don't need them like winning another one. I honestly think I'm probably rooting for Montreal.
Wow.
I know it's a little weird, based on, a little bit of a rivalry with them with the Caps. And then also you got the whole Canadian Cup thing. So like, I mean, here's the thing. I could give you a reason. I'd give you probably multiple reasons for each team why I don't want them to win.
That's pretty fair. I mean, we'll get into this a little bit more in a second, but like no one likes Vegas. We all hate Vegas, but you and I would love to see Nick Dowd win a Stanley Cup.
Exactly.
So I totally agree. There's definitely a little reason to like every team and to hate every team, or if you're Carolina, just
There's
hate
just
them all.
nothing.
Yeah, there's just
that's
no
my
reason.
That's my last pick. I'd prefer Vegas over them even.
Okay, I like that. So this came out recently. I think there was a poll done. I think Bar Down posted this. I could be wrong, but Vegas, most hated NHL team in the United States. What do you think about that?
I mean, I guess it makes sense. I think it's twofold. Number one, it's like they're new. They haven't earned it. All these other teams, like their fan bases have had to suffer at points in time. And so it's like, who are you guys that you get to waltz in here and go to 2 cup finals, win one of them already, shit like that. And then I think the other thing too that I've heard a lot of people say is just that they don't like that people are trying to like make Vegas like a sports town. It doesn't feel like a true like sports fan base. It feels like an attraction for tourists to go see when they're in town, almost like you'd go see like a Cirque du Soleil show is like, oh, now when I'm in town, I can go see the Vegas Golden Knights. It's as if they're like putting on a show type thing. And so
it is a show.
It's a money grab. And so I think for that reason, it's a lot of people. And, that's not to say there obviously are people who live in Las Vegas that are probably psyched that they finally have a hockey team and are actual fans, but I think the rep that they get around the country outside of that area is that it's this big spectacle and it's a money grab. I think that's true to an extent.
For sure. You and I obviously don't like this team going back to the, 2018 Stanley Cup final. That, was just, I feel like once you play a team in the Stanley Cup final, even if you beat them, you still hate them because of how intense those series are. And that one was only 5 games, but I don't love the whole theatrical performance before every single game. Like I tolerated it on their run to the Cup final in 18. I tolerated it on their run to winning the Stanley Cup at, what was that, 23, 22? I can't even remember what year, but it's old. It's stupid. How many more ways can you have like someone dressed up in knight armor battle something resembling the opponent's mascot at center ice before puck drop with pyros? And, I think, on-ice entertainment has gotten cooler, as they've
Yeah.
been able to like project things onto the ice and stuff. But I think there is a line to everything,
Oh,
and
yeah.
they absolutely just take it to the 11th degree, like you said, because it's Las
Right.
Vegas. It's everything in that city is a show or production or a gimmick. I mean, let's call it what it is, and I might get killed for this, but that city is a glorified boardwalk in the middle of the desert.
Yeah, pretty much. The Las
So-
Vegas gimmick nights.
There you go. I like that a lot better. And then the mustard tarps never did anything for me.
right.
But question of the day, this made me think of this. Give me your 3 most hated teams in the NHL in order,
Personally, lately, this is funny. I actually tweeted there was a trend going on, I don't know, maybe a month ago, where you're supposed to tweet your top 10 most hated teams, period, across all of sports. So this
That's
is
a good one.
somewhat fresh on my mind. I want to say that what I ended up saying for hockey-wise, the number one hockey one, at least right now, is actually the Hurricanes.
Okay.
Just more recent hatred, more recent bad blood in the playoffs and stuff like that. And a million other reasons I won't get into, but like I hate them more than I hate the Penguins right this second. You know what I
Wow.
mean? And
that means a lot, though. Like
it does. But so speaking of the Penguins, they would probably be number 2.
have to be number 2.
And then I guess number 3, I mean, I'd probably still have to go with somebody like the Flyers or
Okay.
like once upon a time, maybe. No, you know what? It's the Rangers. I'll go Hurricanes, Penguins, Rangers. That's the top 3 most hated in order.
I like that. I think if it was like 2012, it would probably, at least for me, it would probably go Penguins, Rangers, Flyers.
Yes, exactly.
And then honorable mention is probably Montreal. But, that was just, prisoner of the moment back then. Now I would have to go pretty close to yours. I'm still going to go Penguins 1. Just because I don't want anything good to ever happen to that franchise.
Right.
And this is coming from a guy that was on their ice earlier this year. So it has come full circle for sure. Number 2, I have to go Carolina. Just everything you said. If you want to know why Mac and I hate the Hurricanes, just listen to any other episode. You could literally spin a wheel, throw a dart, pick one. You'll just get a Hurricanes rant. But
I'm sure.
Yep, everyone hates Vegas of the East. And then that third spot, it's really hard for me to pick against the New York Rangers. And so much of that is just because of their fans.
Yes, absolutely.
If this was what fandom do you hate the most, that's number 1 for me.
I think
Hands down across all sports.
I'm with you on that.
Worse than Eagles fans, worse than Man United fans or City fans or Liverpool fans or Michigan fans or Wisconsin fans. So
I agree with you.
They are the worst of the worst. But I think just on, the combination of how much I hate the team, what like the Caps and the Rangers went through in those, early 2010 playoff series that were always just, the 3-1 slides that the Caps had and the meltdowns, the overtime, the Derek Stepan overtime goal that I still have a hard time watching in 2026. Yeah, so I got to go Pens, Canes, Rags. That's my list.
Yep.
If you had an honorable mention there, who would it be?
Probably Flyers, maybe the Bruins.
Bruins is a good one. I'm surprised that there's no Canadian teams on our list.
Yeah. I mean, they just haven't been that good recently.
Right. And I don't think there's been that many collisions for us personally in the playoffs. I mean, Montreal, twice in our lifetime?
A few times, and then Leafs once.
Just once, yeah.
Yeah. So
it's interesting. Yeah. Let's go ahead and move into things that actually matter that are happening now. PWHL, I want to start with them this episode. So game 5 for that, or game 4 for that series is tonight. Montreal currently leads Ottawa 2-1 in the series. It is best of 5. So Montreal can clinch that tonight or yesterday, because you guys are listening to this the day after. If Ottawa wins, Game 5 will be Saturday at 12:30 p.m. I've really enjoyed watching this. Every game in the series has been a 1-goal game, and I think it's really interesting that both of Montreal's wins have been in overtime, and they've kind of been that overtime team all throughout these PWHL playoffs. So I really hope this one goes the distance. I'd like to see a game 5 for the Walter Cup, especially, noon on a Saturday. Great way to
Yeah.
get your weekend going on the
Oh
build
yeah.
up to the one of the biggest sports weekends in the world this weekend. So
Yep.
there's a lot of good stuff happening.
Yeah, I mean, just imagine how electric Montreal must be as a city right now between the men's league and the women's league popping off and all these OT playoff victories, and I mean, it's just I I'm sure people living there, still getting their heart rate down from the last couple of games for the PWHL team and the NHL team, but it's a privilege to be able to watch that kind of high stakes hockey and a privilege to win those games. So. Uh, that's exciting.
Is there any part, do you think, of Montreal as a fan base that goes, oh no, we're using up all of our overtime. Good luck in the first
Dude,
two
maybe.
rounds
Yeah,
now?
maybe. I don't know.
I don't know if that's the way that the hockey gods still operate, but I know as a Washington Capitals fan, that's how I felt all the time.
Yeah.
But dude, the atmosphere between the Victoire games and the Habs games, I mean, so many videos going around of where people were watching that game 7 and where people were watching the overtime for that game 7. I don't know if you saw this. So Bell Center holds like 22-ish thousand people. It's the largest arena in the NHL. They had another 20 plus thousand outside.
Yep.
And when the city celebrated, it clocked a 0.5 on the Richter scale. They literally caused an earthquake.
I did see that. They were some rioting too. Not as bad as we've seen with certain other Canadian cities when they lose, but there was some havoc for sure.
Yeah. I still, to this day, I'm convinced that's why Vancouver legalized pot ahead of a lot of other cities. Was like, okay, that way when the Canucks blow it, eventually again, everyone will just be a little bit more
chill
mellow.
Fuck out. Right.
Exactly. Let's go ahead and just put some bows on the second round. I thought Montreal versus Buffalo, that was the best atmosphere between two cities I have seen in a playoff series in this postseason. I don't know about you, but that was fantastic.
Ton of fun.
Yeah, that was a great series. I'm really going to miss that one. I'm glad we got at least one of those second round series to go the distance because, the Canes were done in 5 minutes. They just blew their load early. And then I think the other two we were a little bit disappointed by. Certainly the Minnesota-Colorado one, as intense as that was, I think everyone wanted that to go 7.
The games were exciting, but it sucks that it didn't last longer.
And then the Minnesota meltdown at the end. I mean, it's
especially now when you factor in, and we'll get to this in a minute, but you factor in what we've heard about Cale Makar being out of the lineup at least for game 1. And now if you're Minnesota, you're really kicking yourself going, holy shit, if we just hadn't have blown that lead.
Yep.
Maybe, Cale probably wouldn't have been able to go the next game. And, you just never know what happens there. But yeah, that's got to be tough if you're a Wild fan.
A lot of the criticism that I've seen going against Wild, just the Wild as an organization, everyone was all high on Billy G for putting this team together, for, doing what he did for the Olympics, which he, I'll always be thankful for. But, now the criticism of Kaprizov getting paid $17 million is starting to show up, and people are saying, this is why you don't pay someone $17 million. You got to spread it around a little bit. So I think that team definitely needs another center, maybe a top line center, maybe a center that wears 34. Who knows?
That'd be something.
But that series for sure, that's one of the biggest heavyweight tilts I think we've seen in a long time.
It was. Yeah. I mean, just two absolute juggernaut teams, and they were both a little dinged up by the end of it, but a valiant effort on both sides.
Yeah. One last thing about Montreal Buffalo before we wrap up. I know it was your birthday on Monday, so happy belated to you, my friend.
Thank you.
Did I see a little bit of a Leigh McCain celebration in that light blue Habs tarp?
There was, yes. So a really good friend of the program, my buddy Mitch, he's a diehard Habs fan. So I was showing out for him, and we were at this bar. It's actually an Oilers bar. So they really wanted Buffalo to win because they don't want another Canadian team.
Of course.
But there's also a couple guys in there that are, I guess, from Buffalo. They're actual Sabres fans, and they're kind of being a little douchey throughout the game to us.
Nice.
And we were being pretty good sports, honestly, and they just weren't. They didn't want to be good sports. So we just, by the end of it, we're like, well, We're not going to be that good sports as we celebrate either
No.
now because you guys been assholes all game to us.
I remember it seems like, everyone thinks that Buffalo sports fans would be nice because they're so close to Canada.
Dude, it
They
was
are
in
not.
that moment I was like, I remembered that like Sabres fans are the same people as Bills fans. And I was
Yeah.
like, oh, okay. Yeah. I mean, you guys are not nice typically.
I remember that one time I was out visiting you and we went to, what's that really big sports bar?
Stenny's.
Yeah,
Yes.
Stenny's.
It's like turned into like a Bills bar all of a sudden. It's
Yeah, they
pissing me
had the
off.
whole patio and they just like would not shut up.
Yes,
And I'm like, it's week 3.
Yeah, it's very annoying.
Yeah. That's all I have for the second round. Do you have anything from Vegas, Anaheim, or?
Great effort by the Ducks.
Yeah.
Hell of a season, hell of a postseason. They should
Yeah.
be proud. They'll be back. Quack, quack.
Yeah, and thank you for turning our second round pick into a first rounder. We appreciate that.
That was nice.
Let's go ahead and jump into the conference finals. But before we do, Mac, you have a word from our friends over at DraftKings.
The Stanley Cup playoffs are here, and DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL, has a new customer offer. When the ice gets coldest, the best players in the world show you exactly who they are. Playoff warriors turn it up round by round, and DraftKings turns it up with them from the first round all the way to the Stanley Cup final. Bet player props, bet live. From the opening faceoff to the final horn, every moment matters. New DraftKings customers, bet just $5 and you'll get $100 in bonus bets instantly.
Alrighty, welcome to the conference finals, ladies and gentlemen. And then there were 4.
Yep.
Do you want to start with the East or the West, my friend?
Let's go West since that's getting started first.
True. That is a great point. So game 1 will be in the books by the time you guys listen to this. All we know from that game is there will be no Cale Makar, but Avs versus Knights for the Western Conference, whatever trophy that is. What is it? Clarence Campbell, Prince of Wales, one of those two?
Yeah, the Clarence Carter. The Clarence
Exactly.
Carter stroking trophy.
Of course.
May he rest in peace. He just died, by the way.
He did. Initial thoughts on this series. I know that, on paper, everyone thinks that this should probably be no problem for the Avs, given who they just dispensed with, but I just a gut feeling Vegas is continuing to get better as this postseason goes on.
I've got a funny feeling that this thing is going to not go the way most people are expecting it to. I've got a really funny feeling that Vegas is taking this thing in 6. And,
wow.
I think that they're so good at like I was listening to Chicklets the other day and they kind of sold me, and I think it was Witt that pointed out specifically that every time they get up, like even going back past years, it seems like every time they get up 3-2 in a series, they just punch the hammer down and they don't like play a lot of game 7s, it feels like. So especially if they win game 1 or something like that, I think Colorado has every reason to be a little worried, especially without Makar. There's some injuries there that I think are, obviously Vegas missing Stone as well, but I think the way Marner's been playing, the way that team's clicking, hate to say it, but Carter Hart has been sneaky, really good too. So I don't know, man. I think this is going to be a way, way closer series for sure than most people are thinking. And I also think Vegas is taking it. I really do.
So you're going Knights in 6, just right off the hop?
Yes.
Wow. I like it. I'm starting to agree with you. I listened to what Chicklets said the other day, and I was sort of in the same boat. I was like,
points.
Yeah, I was like, you're making a lot of good points here. And then just watching this team this year, which I've gone out of my way to watch those games as often as I can, especially when we had 2 or 3 a night, but they're getting scoring from guys that you might not necessarily think would be, the guys putting the puck in the back of the net. Dorofeyev is having an almost Alex Newhook like playoffs right now. He had that game in the second round against the Ducks where, there was like a point shot that just blew up his knee, and then, fights back into the game to score the OT winner later on. Like, that's the kind of stuff that you need on a Stanley Cup run.
Exactly. No, it's they're a team of junkyard dogs, and I think they also kind of lean into. You were talking earlier about how they're like the most hated team in the U.S. I think they know that, and I think they probably lean into it. Probably feels good in certain situations like that. It kind of feels good to be the villain. So
Yeah, it's really hard to pick against this team, especially when they just kind of play a playoff style of hockey, and I don't know if that's necessarily the Torts effect, but I know what the Torts effect is, and that's getting the most out of whatever you're given. So he is going to get so much out of this group as it continues to go on. And it seems like, everyone was saying, oh no, Mitch Marner's not going to see the ice when John Tortorella gets there. I'm like, dude, he's playing the best hockey he's ever played in his life right now. So
it's working just fine, I think.
How pissed do you think the Leafs fans are?
Oh, dude. Again, that's kind of another reason why I'm not going to say I'm starting to come around to Vegas. Like, I'm never going to straight up root for them. But, like, between Nick Dowd being there, and I've always liked Torts, and then you bring in the narrative of, like, Mitchie and, like, how butthurt Leafs fans would be and just how funny that would be to sit back and eat popcorn while that all unfolds.
Like, the first time he leaves conference finals.
Yeah. My point here is there's at least, like, a handful of awesome storylines that I can look at as a silver lining. If Vegas ends up getting the job done this year, I'll be like, all right, well, I didn't want them to win, but at least there's this, and that,
Yeah, you can tolerate it at least. I mean, they've got to be losing their minds. And I'm not just doing this to blow up on Leafs fans, because you and I do have some friends that are Leafs fans, and, we do care about their well-being. But I do think it is absolutely hilarious that they're literally trying to figure out who's going to coach their team and what the new GM is going to do. And Mitch Marner's like, still playing hockey. Sorry.
Yep. Oh, man, it's so good. It is so funny.
Good. I'm very excited for this series. Right off the hop, you probably give the edge in goaltending to the Knights, just with what we've seen from Carter Hart.
Yeah.
I know the woodshed has been a little bit up and down, but they're just, from what I can tell, they're just going to continue riding whoever the hot one of the two is until this ends. So,
and in that way, like, if Carter Hart has a bad game, I trust the Knights, like, I guess if you want to call it goaltending depth, less than I do for Colorado. So shit could hit the fan quicker if something goes wrong in net for them.
No, I think if you're Vegas and Hart has a bad game, you just tell him to shake it off and you go right back to him the next game. Just
it's too late to mix another guy in at this point.
Absolutely. I got into not an argument, discussion with a friend of mine over the weekend about this. So apparently they're calling Blackwood and Wedgwood the lumberyard. I like woodshed better, and we did start this, 2 years ago?
Yeah, it's the woodshed. It's that's a slam dunk. It's in the name.
Right. It's just, it writes itself.
Yeah.
Don't think outside the box. Just, fastballs down the middle.
Here.
Yeah. Got to keep your eye on the ball. You were talking about storylines with the Knights winning this. If Colorado went on to, make the Stanley Cup final, win the Stanley Cup, guy I would be genuinely happy for, Brent Burns.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, that would be another big silver line. Not even, I wouldn't be mad, I guess, if Colorado wins, but that would be one of my biggest things I'd be excited about for sure. He deserves it more than maybe anybody in the league who hasn't won yet.
Absolutely. And you would assume that he's getting that cup after. Landeskog's going to go, yep, here you go. Like, neat.
That would be really cool to see, honestly. I've always been a big Burnsy guy.
Yeah, exactly. Dude, I was telling someone about this the other day. I was like, I remember when he was a forward.
Yeah,
now I feel old.
Dude, I remember they used to show the headshots of him throughout his career, like in Minnesota, and just like the old meme was like, because he started like kind of baby face, clean shaven, and then he starts to like turn into more and more of a lumberjack.
He had the highlights for a while.
Yeah, he did. And then like there's one where it's like pretty close to what it's now, where it's just like a dark, crazy beard. And then the next photo is just a picture of Chewbacca. And it's like, yeah, look at all these photos of Brent Burns.
That's,
years.
It's kind of par for the course with what I've heard and what I've seen. But just a very, very likable guy. Would be very happy for him for sure. Should we go over to the East? You got anything else before we wrap up the West? I think I'm going to go Avs in 7.
Okay. Yeah, let's go East.
Who do we want to start with? Montreal or Carolina?
I mean, there's not a whole lot to say about Carolina. They played 8 games this postseason.
How have they played 8 games?
You've got half the internet saying this team, we don't even know what they're made of yet because they've played the Senators and then the Flyers, and then you've got a bunch of people saying, yeah, but those teams are still good. They still made the playoffs, and the Canes managed to sweep both of them. So, look out however you want to look at it. I think the biggest takeaway here is they haven't played a hockey game in 15 days or something like
Just
that.
Just about, man. It's been a lot longer than I remember these being when teams would sweep when we were younger. And, I'm sure a lot of that's down to, them adjusting the broadcast now. I mean, teams have to fly back and forth, especially the teams out west. So I totally get it. But
I think some stats said that, even dating back to the last week or two of the regular season, they've played the fewest amount of hockey games in any 40-day span, ever, by a ton, compared to any other hockey team of any era. I just don't know what you do if you're a player on the Canes and you're I know, you're coming to practice, you're trying to stay focused. You can say whatever you want in the locker room to each other about don't lose sight of the task, boys,
right.
All the cliches. There's no way to stay focused. There's no way, you can't.
Yeah. You're going to take your foot off
the
gas mentally, at least a little bit, if anything. Yeah. I mean,
And meanwhile, you got Montreal on the other side of the coin who just played 2 Game 7s, went to OT in both, won them both. This is just fucking momentum city.
Yeah.
And I guess I've been saying this all along. If Montreal finds a way to get that first game and catch Carolina kind of sleeping, boom, we've got a series, because suddenly Carolina just lost for the first time this postseason. There's a little bit of adversity. Things are a little scary, a little shaky.
At home.
Yep, there's all this stuff that starts to spill in. If Carolina still wins game 1 after all this time off and all this and that, it's going to just be wraps at that point, in my opinion.
Oh, absolutely.
So, Montreal
15
has
days
to win that game.
I totally agree. 15 days. So they've had essentially a spring break and a half.
Yeah.
In between the second and third round in the middle of the Stanley Cup playoffs.
Right.
Now, obviously, I know they're not sitting around on the beach somewhere, but
but I mean, put it this way, that's about, I mean, good point. If I was working on a school assignment and then took some time off and then come back, I'm oh, I'm not I got to refocus on the task. I'm what was I doing? What was this paper about again?
What subject is this?
I'm not in that headspace anymore. So
no, I mean, when else have these guys had 15 days off in the middle of a hockey season? I mean, maybe the guys that didn't go to the Olympics.
Yeah.
And that's probably closer to, I don't know, maybe just about 15 days.
It's bad.
It is wild. I can't remember the last time I've seen a team have this amount of time off in between rounds, but we'll see what the rest versus rust verdict is. That game is tonight, game 1. Do you have a prediction for game 1?
I'm going to just kind of try and speak this into existence and say that we're going to get a Montreal 3-2 or 4-2 victory, and it's going to be 3-0 Montreal. And then Carolina gets 2 back in third as they finally start to get their legs back.
Okay.
And then it's not enough, and then maybe an empty netter or something like that.
Nice. I like that. I think one of the best ways to set this series off and just set the tone for what this should be as a neutral would be a game 1 that goes to overtime, maybe a second.
Yeah.
Just let's get crazy right off the hop. Yep. No one knows what's going to happen. I'll go over to Montreal in a second, but I want to start specifically with the goaltending matchup here. I think this is one of the most interesting goaltending matchups we've seen in the Stanley Cup playoffs. Yeah. It might go down as the best one. So you've got Freddie, who has just been banged up and dinged up, and there was some inconsistency discussions there. We had talked about him when he gets to the postseason. He didn't look all that solid. Then you've got this, monster in Dobes that's just young and just playing his out of his mind right now. So who would you give the advantage to in net between those two teams?
I mean, it's tough because you mentioned Freddie, and like the Freddie we're all used to is banged up and dinged up, and can we trust him? Is he going to stay healthy? Is he going to stay hot? All this stuff. But I mean, this postseason he's been nothing short of incredible so far. So I mean, there's no reason, if you'd never seen him play any games besides just this postseason, you'd be like, this guy's great. I have no worries. So if I'm just going to base it off of their performance so far this postseason, I think I'll give the edge to Andersen.
Okay.
However, I will say this Habs team doesn't even sniff the second round without the way Dobes has been playing. It's just unbelievable what he's done for that team.
Yeah, I feel like I got to go Dobie just because he's making saves that are keeping that team alive. And that's where I think they could potentially give Carolina a lot of trouble. If he can find a way, and if that defense in front of him can find a way to just frustrate the Carolina Hurricanes, which we haven't seen anyone do in a while, especially this season,
that would be awesome.
I think that would be fantastic. And I don't know if you noticed this. I saw this starting to happen a little bit in that Game 7 against Buffalo when, first couple periods, Sabres just could not get anything going. And Montreal is just pinning these guys to the outside. And I'm like, oh my God, 2010 Habs all over again.
Yes,
hot
it felt
goalie,
that way.
shot blocking, like the Sabres can't get any kind of penetration whatsoever.
You start thinking you're never going to score again. You're like, we're never going to score a goal again.
Absolutely.
Like, there's just no way to.
Yeah.
It really gets in your head as a team like that. So you're right. If they can do that to the Canes, anything could happen.
Yeah. They're also, we talked about Vegas getting scoring from a lot of different places. Montreal is doing that too. Alex Newhook's having the give me a real contract right fucking now kind of postseason.
Yeah.
Texier, let's not forget this guy played outside of the NHL for a year. I think like 2 or 3 years ago, he was playing in the Swiss League, came back. A lot of people can't do that, and he's found a home in Montreal. Bolduc is scoring. I mean, this is some impressive stuff from this Habs lineup.
I didn't realize Newhook's only 25. Holy shit.
He is.
He's playing like a veteran out there, man.
Do you remember who gave him away for pretty much nothing?
Well, he was on Colorado, but I thought that didn't they get Lehkonen out of that?
Was he part of that deal?
I
don't know
so.
why I thought they dumped him for nothing. I could be wrong.
If it was for Lehkonen, that's a good deal on both sides.
That is a good deal.
I can't remember exactly, but
I will look that up.
Anyway, my final call. I'm again. This is probably me trying to manifest some shit, but if I really think hard about it here, the Habs beat the Bolts in 7. I think the Bolts are every bit as good of a team and as dangerous and as much of a Goliath as the Hurricanes are. And if the Habs can beat them in 7, then I'm going Habs in 7 again. I like it. I'm going Habs in 7 over the Canes. Fuck it.
Okay, I like that too. I think I'm going to go, man, I'd love to see this happen, but Habs in 6?
Habs in 6. Okay, I love it. Wow.
I hope so. I am looking at these trades now. It's Hockey DB says Newhook was traded from Colorado to Montreal for Gianni Fairbrother, first in the 2023 draft, which they used to pick Mikhail Gulayev, and then a round 2 pick in 23 that they picked Ethan Gauthier.
Okay, well, that's kind of more nothing than what I had in mind.
Yeah, that's crazy. The other thing I think that Carolina really needs to pay attention to here is just stay the hell out of the box, because if you give that Montreal PP1 time on ice, they're going to hurt you in a lot of ways.
Yes, we've seen that happen a lot so far, and the penalty calling has been really interesting so far too. Sorry for those who can hear my cat screaming in the background, my roommate's cat. I swear to God, I fed him before this, so I don't know what he's on about, but anyway, God damn it, man.
It's that Clem or Scotty.
No, it's fucking Scotty being dramatic as hell out there, but God, anyway, fuck it. Habs in 7, you got Habs in 6. Sounds like we're getting by my count, we're getting a VGK and Habs final, and you're getting Colorado and Habs final, which would be, I think that would be a really interesting one, actually.
I do too. I think with just the high-powered offense that both teams have. I mean, that could be
that's like a 90s matchup too.
Oh,
like
yeah.
like a Patrick Waugh era.
For sure. Gotta love that. All right, just some rapid fire questions before we wrap up the conference finals discussion here. Out of all these 4 teams, give me a Conn Smythe winner from each one.
That's a really good one. Well, okay, let me start simple, because if it's Vegas, it's Marner. I don't have to think too hard about that. Honestly, if it's Montreal, it's Dobes.
Yep. If it's not him, I'd have to say Suzuki.
Yeah. If it's Carolina, that one's pretty hard because they've only played 8 games, so there's not a ton of guys with like crazy point numbers. But I want to say, isn't Stankoven their point leader right now still?
I believe so.
So I think I'd have to go him, and then Colorado. Oh man. I mean, I'd have to look closer at the stats, but I think probably like just McKinnon.
I think it's really hard to pick against him. I mean, if someone like Natchez has,
I was gonna say maybe Natchez could have a series or 2 here.
Like if he gets 4 in this series and then like 3 or 4 more in the Cup final, I think that's doable.
Yeah.
It's tough. I mean, maybe Makar, but if he's, if he's
missing half the games here,
right?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think a goaltender from Colorado gets it. I don't think Carter Hart's going to get it. I think it's a stretch for Freddie. I mean, unless he just takes over the next 2 rounds.
I mean, if he goes fucking 16-0, he will.
Yeah, that's
it's possible at this point. Fuck.
That's insane. I don't know what I would do if the Hurricanes went 16-0. That would be a massive problem for both you
upsetting. And I. Yeah.
Just like right off the hop, out of these 4 teams, who are you most impressed by so far in this postseason?
Vegas, honestly, just at the moment with what I expected from the team and what I'm seeing, it's Vegas, because I didn't think they would do shit. I honestly didn't know if they'd even win the first round, which they kind of almost didn't. Until they just did.
And we thought for a while they might not make the playoffs. I mean, it was kind of looking a little bit off for a long time. So
no, they're like that kid in like high school who like doesn't start his like project until like the week it's due, and you're like, dude, you are going to fail this shit. And then like he gets like a better grade than you, and you're like, what the fuck happened? How did you do that? And he's like, I don't know, it wasn't that hard. And you're like, dude, like, what the hell?
You're like, I'll just go fuck myself. Been stressing over that for a month. But,
yeah, exactly.
I gotta go Montreal. I think I've expected them to like cave and collapse at so many different points this series. In no way did I think the Habs are going to make the conference final at any point this season.
Marty St. Louis has those boys in shape. I'll tell you what.
He really
does.
does.
Reason why.
And it's annoying that there's just so many likable guys on that team. Caulfield, Suzuki. Oh my gosh, they're just so much fun to watch.
Yeah.
So I got to go with the Habs. Out of the 4 teams that are left, which one do you think has the most right to be like, oh shit, this matchup's going to be tough? Or who should be the most concerned, if anyone?
I mean, I guess technically it's got to be... Fuck, that's actually really hard. Sleeper pick, I think it's the Canes.
Okay.
Because
sitting?
I just don't. I think it's from sitting, but I also just don't think there's a really good way to prepare yourself to play that Montreal team. And I also think that out of all the coaches left, like when we were watching Game 7 and we were trying to figure out, is it going to be Montreal or Buffalo that moves on to play Carolina? I was saying, teams-wise, I think they're both equally capable of maybe giving Carolina a little bit of a hard time. But the reason I was like, I actually think Montreal has a better chance of actually beating them is because of Marty St. Louis. I said, I think St. Louis has a better chance of out-coaching or at least equally coaching against Rod the Bod Brindamore. I don't think Lindy could have done it the same way. I just think that Rod, he's really good at like finding matchups and just really the analytical portion of what it takes to like out coach the other team on the other side in a series.
Right.
And so far what I've seen from Marty, I feel like he's up to the task to be able to do that. So I think Rod and Carolina have the biggest reason to be like, shit, this is, especially because how do you get I know that the Flyers and the Senators, they all made the playoffs. They're all good hockey teams. But how do you get your boys to be like, hey, guys, this is going to be harder.
Very
it's
different.
going to be a lot different. Like, there's no way to prepare for that. Until
I
you're just
also
in it.
think another point about what you were saying about the Sabres, I don't think they had the goaltending to give Carolina a good enough run.
Probably not.
Whereas Montreal, what we've seen so far from Dobie probably does.
Yep. Great point.
In a weird way, I'm actually going to say Colorado. I was almost concerned,
especially with the injury. If that lingers,
that's
longer.
What it is for me. It's not that necessarily like, oh crap, Minnesota was too easy, because it absolutely wasn't. I look at a Cale Makar injury. I know the report said he's expected to continue to play in the series, but if that drags on longer than I think 2 games, then it becomes a narrative, and at that point, your power play 1 is completely messed up. Not that it's ruined, because you've still got McKinnon, Natchez, Lehkonen, Landeskog, whoever else on the ice. But
and let's not forget that Colorado actually had one of the worst power plays in the league for most of the season this year, and they've just figured it out in the playoffs, and it's been clicking. But all of a sudden, you throw that kind of wrench in it, and it's going to be: are we finding chemistry again? Are we back to square one? So that could be a big concern. Good point.
Yeah, absolutely. That's all I've got for the conference finals. Do you have anything else before we move on to trivia?
I think that'll do it. I'm excited. I said at the beginning of the episode I was annoyed with the teams that are left, but I think I kind of talked myself into it this episode. They all have some interesting things to be excited about. It's just not my 4 favorite teams. Let's put it that way.
I'm still going to watch every single game.
Of course.
Well said. Well said. All right, trivia, my friend. Hit me. What do you got?
Okay, so let me pull this up. It's a conference final related type situation. I want you to, I've got here in front of me, every team's last conference finals berth by year.
Okay.
So let's start with, can you give me the 5 teams who have gone the longest without appearing in a conference final as of right now?
I would assume one of them is Buffalo.
Correct. And that would be 2007, the last time they were there.
Okay, I think Minnesota also went in the early 2000s. I want to say like 2003, 4
That's exactly
maybe?
Right. 2003, wow. And they're in there too. There's only one team who it's been longer since they've appeared.
Okay.
And this obviously doesn't include like teams who've just never made it,
Right. Damn, who's the only one longer than them? Is it the Leafs?
Yeah.
Nice.
2002, they've been to a conference final. That was the last time. So you got Leafs the longest, 2002. Then the Wild, 2003. Then you're missing someone at 2004. And then you got Buffalo at 07. And then you got another team at 09.
Okay. Who am I missing in 2004? Is this also a Canadian team?
It is.
Is it the Ottawa Senators?
No.
Habs?
Nope. No, because, it's the Flames.
That's right.
Because Senators were in it against the Penguins.
That's right.
Whatever year that was, 17 or 16?
16, yeah.
One of those two. And the Habs were in it in the Bubble Bowl.
That's right. Stupid Bubble Bowl.
The Flames are 04. And then finally 2009.
2009. East or West? Okay. So that's Detroit.
Yeah. They would have been West then.
Yeah.
But now East, which is a whole nother thing. Yeah. So that's pretty interesting. Then just to rattle off a few more, next longest after that, Flyers haven't been since 2010.
Okay.
Nucks have not been since 2011. Devils have not been since 2012. The Kings since 2014. The Blackhawks since 2015. The Penguins, Senators, Ducks, and Predators have not been since 17. And then Caps and Jets, 2018. And then, the rest of them have all been somewhat recently. So,
who are those that have never been to a conference finals other than like Utah? And, actually, do you count Utah? Because Phoenix went in 11.
Phoenix has been. The franchise has been. I guess I don't think CBJ has, right?
No.
They've made it to the second round once. I think they lost.
Yeah.
Might be. I mean, the Kraken.
True.
The That might be it.
Can't think of anyone else. Jets have done it. Dallas has done it.
Yeah, there's 29 teams on this list, so
Okay.
we're only missing 3.
So depending on if we count
named
Mammoth there.
They're probably put it, yeah, because there's
count
no Phoenix logo in here. So yeah,
Okay.
we got it.
Nice. Alrighty. Anything else before we close out here, my friend?
Let's just anyone but Carolina. That's my final
Well
thought.
said. I don't think we could close on any better note than that. So make sure you guys are subscribed on YouTube, following on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Facebook, Threads, whatever else I didn't name, LinkedIn, your calculator app, whatever. And we will see you guys in the next episode.